What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for another week of building Utapau. And this week I'm going to be tackling the second building, and I'm going to force myself to focus on that building. I'm not going to focus on anything else because I really need to prioritize it and get it done. I've been procrastinating and putting it off for so long because in reality I don't really know what it's going to look like. I did show you guys an image of what I would like to base it off of in last week's update, but that's really all I have to go off of. And so I've really been nervous to tackle it and start it. And I know once I get into it, I'll probably be able to figure something out, be able to get it done. It's just getting started. That being said, I will be doing a little bit of work on the other side. I've got a nice package that I got from a friend that I'm going to open up that will be hopefully good for the roof of the tower on that side. And then, I've got some other stuff to open up and show you guys. All in all, it should be a pretty interesting week, and let's get on with the building. Before I get into any building this week, I've got a couple of hauls to open up, and this first one is from my friend Michigan Bricks. He was so kind as to not only suggest but send me a piece that I might be able to use for the top of my tower, kind of that roof area, and that is these half domes, half circles, whatever you want to call them. What they are the two halves that come together to form, I believe this is the planet of Tatooine, so it's that Lego Star Wars Planets series. I think this came with, I don't even remember what it came with. I'm not going to try to remember, but they're both the right color and roughly the right shape that they might be able to fit on top. We'll have to test that out later and see how they fit, but thanks again for that, Michigan. I really appreciate it. Next, I'm pretty sure this is just slopes and wedge plates for Utapau. Yeah. Excellent. I need a lot of these. So we've got a lot of dark tan plate as well as a decent amount of dark orange plate as well for a side project I'm cooking up right now. And then we've got some dark tan wedge plates as well as some dark orange wedge plates. So good stuff, and it's time to start the build. So this is the tower that I was talking about. I'm hoping the dome will fit fairly nicely on the top. Obviously it's not going to be a perfect fit, especially because this tower is not a complete circle. But we're going to do the best we can with what we got. So this is what it looks like with it on the tower. Obviously, I'm going to need to do some kind of modifications here, but I think so far, even just sitting here like this, I think it looks pretty good. Like it fits the shape pretty nicely and it's about the right size. I think what I'm going to do is cut these little tabs off because I'm obviously not going to need to build that little planet anytime soon. And if I can cut these off, then it will sit flushly against the top of this tower. And then I think what I'm going to do is just put some inverted slopes right here and have them kind of slope up right there to kind of meet this dome. I'm still not 100% sure how that's going to look. Maybe I'll need to add like a wedge plate right there, but we'll see. I'm thinking that this is probably going to work out, which makes me really happy because I wasn't sure how I was going to get that circular dome on the top. Also, I'm sure you guys are probably all laughing at me right now because I just realized earlier in the update when I was doing my haul, I called these all plates. These are obviously tiles, not plates. I know my Lego pieces. All of this is going to be used over there on that back part. But now that the tower is pretty much done, that area is pretty much done, I'm going to do a little bit of work up there, but I really need to start on that building. So I think that's what I'm going to tackle next. All right, I am actually in the middle of live streaming right now, but I wanted to take a quick pause to show you guys in greater detail what I've been working on. So first, I've got this second layer of plate done. You guys can see it runs along here. It's just wedge plates, kind of basically what I did over here on this side. It just raised up this whole building area up a little bit, which I think is nice. The one part I don't like is over here where these two areas meet. So we've got this ridge coming along this side, which looks nice. This ridge coming along this side, which is nice. But when they meet right here, I just think that's a really ugly connection. So I might try and figure out, a different solution for right there. But for right now, what I'm doing is trying to figure out the layout for this building. So it's going to have three different walls. We're going to have one right here running diagonal, and then another flat one right here. And so I put these plate down right here, these plates, so you guys can see like where that wall is going to be. And then underneath that wall is going to be all tile because obviously, if a wall is at an angle, it can't sit on studs. So I'm trying to figure out like where the studs and tile will land. And I got this whole thing tiled off, which looks really good. So now I can actually start working on the wall. Now that I know it can sit down, I don't need to do that on either of these two sides because these walls are in line with plate and stuff. They won't be running across them at an angle. All right, I have been hard at work on this building over here to get as much of this building done by the end of the week. Initially I said I wanted to have this whole thing done at the beginning of the week, which was a bit lofty of an expectation just because I had no idea what I was going to be doing or if I was going to have the parts. But so far I've had a surprising number of parts for this building, so I should get fairly close. Let me just explain what's going on here. So you guys saw how I had those plate angled at an angle right there. Now that probably makes a lot more sense as to why I did that, because I've got this wall running diagonally up in that direction. You can see along the bottom of the entire wall there aren't any studs. It's all tile, and that was so I could run this wall diagonally like this while still keeping it flush with the ground, which I think turned out pretty nicely. So for the building itself, this was the building that I was kind of taking inspiration from. I wasn't going to try and copy it exactly, just kind of, I needed some kind of model, something to get my mind going. You can see they've got these like designs in the lower wall right here, kind of oval like shield looking things. So that's where the idea came for these. These come out like this. You can see it's just kind of like an oval. It's almost kind of like the same shape as the platform a little bit, which was nice because I was able to incorporate another shape from Utapau just to keep the architecture kind of consistent. And then I just used an assortment of slopes and inverted slopes to kind of create a shell or shape for these designs to slide right into. So they slide in pretty nicely like that. I've got 3 of them. This is the inside of the wall, so that's why you've got like these studs poking out and stuff, and it doesn't look as pretty. It is kind of hard to show you guys this whole wall just because this giant arch keeps getting in the way, but they look really nice from the outside. I didn't want anything too fancy or too much going on here just because this is going to be a background piece. The battle and the front area is going to be what's really catching your eye. So this back building didn't need to be anything too special, but I did add a row of light bluish gray tile here along the bottom just to give the wall a little bit of texture and make it pop a little bit more, because I'm playing with these 2 colors, light bluish gray and dark bluish gray, throughout the whole building. These 3 pieces right here are the beginnings of some columns. So these are going to come up like this, and then they're going to jut out at an angle like that, and this whole upper wall is going to come out at an angle, and this is where the windows will be. Once again, I was pulling from this building. You can see they've got these pillars running along the front of the building, and they kind of jut out at an angle up towards the top. I can't get as smooth of an angle as they do in the building, but I think these things work pretty nicely and they get the job done. So I'm going to have 1 right here, 2 right there in the middle, and then 1 right there at that end. So these ones at the end have 2 purposes. The first is just to add to the design aesthetic, but the second purpose is actually to cover up that ugly crack right there that is caused because I'm using hinge pieces right here and down there to create this angular shape for the wall. So I won't have to worry about seeing that once the mock's all finished, just because it'll be covered up nicely with these pillars. The last bit that I've been working on is this doorway right here. I'm not sure how this is going to look or what's going to happen here. Honestly, I think I might finish this part first just to see what the colors are and what the designs are, and then maybe copy some designs and colors and put them over here. Right now I just have the entrance done, which was enough for me to kind of get this bottom part finished. I needed to just start on this building. Like I said earlier, I really had no idea what to do, so I decided to start with somewhere that I had a fairly certain idea of how it was going to look, and that was this front doorway. That's pretty much it for this update. I'm going to continue to work on this building, and then once I'm done, we're going to check back in for one last update. All right, I'm back with one last update for the week. I wanted to get everything cleaned up and show you guys just a nice clean look at the interior of Utapau. I must say it's coming together very nicely. I did have to steal a couple of wedge plates from this side to get this side finished with this wedge plate line, but I think it looks really good, very natural looking. Like I was saying earlier, my one point of problem is right here. I just don't like this connection, but I can always work on that later. This is what the finished wall looks like. I'm very happy with the design so far. I think it's turning out really nicely. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, but I think for how simple this is, it still looks pretty cool and it's going to get the job done. I got all of these pillars in, so you guys can see this upper wall right here is actually going to be leaning out and kind of facing down, and in between each of these columns is going to be a window. I still haven't gotten anything done on the back here as I'm basically out of pieces, so that's kind of why I had to end this update. But nonetheless, I'm very happy with the amount of progress that was made, because next update I should be pretty much done with this building area, which is awesome, because then I will just have the last thing to do, and that's putting on this upper rock wall. Then it's going to go up. That's going to go up, who knows how high. And then I'll be pretty much done with Utapau. Thank you guys for watching. Another successful week is in the books, and it's time to hit that outro. I hope you guys enjoyed this week of building Utapau. I am so happy to finally have a plan for that last building. And I was surprised with how many of the pieces I had. I was able to do a lot of it, and I already made orders for more pieces. So hopefully by the next update, I should have most of that building done, which is awesome because then I can start on the upper rock wall, which is the last major thing I need to do before Utapau is finished. So the finish line is finally in sight. I'm finally wrapping up orders for certain kinds of parts and kind of deciding like, all right, what small things do I need to add, what final details. So things are really starting to come together and I'm really happy about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below in the comments section. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you won't miss out on any future content. But until next time, happy building.